Deathly Hallows is the finale of 7 movies, 7 books, and I like to think of it as this great opera. Part 1 is the intimate half, and Part 2 is much more epic.
This is bringing the entire series to its conclusion.
If we find him, we can end this.
The battle for Hogwarts is really a battle between good and evil.
A huge theme throughout the 7 books and the films is the question, why fight? Some characters say, I'm not fighting, I have to accept the inevitable. And other characters say, I will fight till I die.
This is everyone's moment to make the right choice and do the right thing.
Dumbledore gave us a job today.
Not a job my brother's given you. It's a suicide mission.
In terms of scale, I think the film is huge. This is the final battle for Hogwarts and the final battle for the wizarding world. And Harry knows very clearly that if he doesn't find the Horcruxes that lie within the school, then there is no hope of victory.
Listen up, you lot. Thought you were surprised.
And so when Harry returns to Hogwarts, everyone knows that supporting Harry is the right thing to do.
There's something we need to find. Right. What is it? We don't know. Where is it? We don't know that either. I realise it's not much to go on.
That's nothing to go on.
Ultimately, you're following the story of these characters, and I mean, I always personally love to foreground their dilemmas and their feelings within the story.
Seems, despite your exhaustive defensive strategies, you still have a bit of a security problem, Headmaster.
Oh, I was dying to do that fight between Dame Maggie Smith and Alan Rickman. I wanted it to be in a big, epic space. We moved it into the Great Hall.
We've been looking back at Alan Rickman when he'd done some stuff in the Great Hall on the table. We also looked at when he blasted Harry outside Hagrid's hut. We looked at the way he done that. So we've sort of given them a few big moves, but they put their own style into it.
I love that Professor McGonagall got her moment to really show what she could do. A witch can fight just as well as a wizard. I wanted Minerva to have her moment there.
Snape flees. But the pleasure is momentary because Voldemort has arrived.
Biggie.
You do realise, of course, we can't keep out you-know-who indefinitely.
That doesn't mean we can't delay him.
I feel that all of the major characters have fantastic moments in this final cathartic battle.
Neville is in charge of protecting one side of the castle. He's in charge of the wooden bridge with Ginny and Seamus and Cho. The wooden bridge sequence is a scary chase, and there's this lovely story of Neville thinking he's safe.
Yes! You and who's army?
And then the shield goes down and he has to sprint. And he'll start sprinting onto the bridge in the back lot. And then we'll go to Pinewood, where we've got a hydraulic bridge, which will collapse.
The bridge is supposed to collapse behind Neville, and then it finally catches up and the part that he's standing on collapses. So we build a collapsing section that we can raise and lower at will and control the drop of and make it look fairly interesting as it collapses. So there's lots of stuff coming down, lots of beams, lots of tiles. But we have the ability to do it and then just hydraulically raise it back up and do it again.
This is the big one for Neville, where he really shows exactly what he's been training all the guys to do throughout the year. And it all goes into this bridge explosion. And it's been tough, this one. We shot this one for like 4 weeks now. It's been lots of running, lots of climbing, but it's been fun, you know, as you can see. It's when they take the support out, this is rigged up and that part of the bridge falls away. And we're going to be doing that in a minute with me on it. And so we've only got one shot at it as well, one go, so I'm a bit nervous about that, but hopefully we'll get it right.
Purely full res with no special effects. Yours, John? Anchor. Save the red, check the gates, please.
Terrifying. I mean, I'd not seen it go before, so I didn't know what to expect. And just knowing, you know, it's our last day at Pinewood, we had to get it right, and we had one shot at it, so, you know, I was pretty nervous.
In the final battle for Hogwarts, we introduced the Giants. Now, they are a very good combo because they are real actors wearing real makeup, prosthetic makeup, but they are then digitally enhanced because their heads are huge, great silicon pieces that are glued on. And the muscles of the actor inside are simply not going to be able to move that much stuff around and deliver a performance. So visual effects animated the face to give the performance. If we use real people, even if you then have to digitally augment them and take it beyond the point where makeup will go, performance-wise, it means that they can shoot a great deal more with the characters, so the digital workload isn't so vast.
It's epic. There's only one word for it because a lot of the castle gets taken down, so it's a very messy time for the castle, literally.
It was actually really exciting to start to blow things up and destroy things and knock them down because it just was so different to anything we'd ever seen or done at Hogwarts before.
This is the biggest bang we've done on any of the Harry Potters. It involves 50-odd explosions, approximately, all timed to go off in about 4.5, 5 seconds.
Nobody except for special effects inside the cloister. Nobody who needs to be in the court, anybody who doesn't need to be in the courtyard, inside the cloister, please.
We've been working out here for the last 2 weeks, just wiring up, laying out the mortar pots and the groundwork for the charges. Obviously, the pyrotechnics and explosives we don't put in until the last moment.
Large explosions going off all the way around.
There'll be a series of explosions starting just to the right of that tower there, which will put a lot of debris in the air, a lot of fire, a lot of flashes.
We're just gelling up just because there's going to be a lot of petrol behind, so just that if any of the flames go over, then we're protecting the guy's skin.
You have to consider all of the different aspects of it and the stunt guys and where they're going to be. And is it going to be too big? Is it going to be not big enough? You know, there's lots of different considerations.
Ready, turn, one, action!
It's a one-take wonder. If we want to do it again, it's come back in a week, literally, because of the work involved in resetting it.
Get inside! It's everyone! Take cover!
Come forward and join us!
Voldemort has this speech and rubs their noses in Harry's cowardice and weakness, and we've shot that in this sort of apocalyptic, destroyed courtyard.
Oh, do not cry for that!
The remains of Hogwarts, and it's absolutely desolate.
The ruined courtyard and the other ruined buildings, they become a different set. It's not just a question of depositing some rubble and pulling some walls down. You must treat it like a new set.
The courtyard we rebuilt outside because we had to do certain things that were not practical to do on the stage.
You cry for that!
In this giant confrontation, Rafe was let loose, and he was utterly terrifying. He was different every time.
He begged for mercy in the voice of a sick child. In the voice of a sick child. In the voice of a sick child.
We shot it for weeks, and you never quite knew who he was going to turn on.
Don't be shy, you. Come. Yes. Or you.
Rafe was coming over to me, and I just scared him. I've never seen him look as scary in all my life. I suppose he's never coming right up face to face with me, but his teeth and everything are just absolutely incredible.
Well done, Draco. Well done, my boy.
It's so easy to act petrified of Rafe when he's dressed like that. I mean, I can barely stand within 5 metres of him, let alone him touch me. God, I get the shivers even thinking about it.
Matt gets the chance to kind of upstage Rafe and step forward with a limp. He had to have a limp. I said, Matt, we've got to give you a limp. And so he limps forward, all bloodied and battered, which is suicidal. It's kind of like, he must be insane. Everybody knows he's going to be killed.
I'd like to say something.
Well, Neville, I'm sure we'd all be fascinated to hear what you have to say.
And there was always this immense courage that Neville had. He had such a strong heart and will, but it was often covered up because of lack of confidence. And when he started to believe in himself, all this courage that was just bubbling under the surface starts to come out. And he doesn't care about surviving this war as long as he does the right thing. Neville's sort of wading through all this rubble and stuff, looking at artefacts that have been from the demolished school, and he finds this, the sorting hat. And within it, there's something's glinting, and he thinks it's the sword of Gryffindor. And he sits there, he thinks, I can do this. I've been in Gryffindor for a reason.
This is not over! Confringo!
The good guys go in full retreat back into the Great Hall.
It's going to be very odd for people, I think, to see that who've seen all of the films, suddenly see the Great Hall in ruin.
Great Hall destruction was a satisfying thing to do because it is, in a way, it is the centre of Hogwarts and the world, really.
It's weird seeing it like this, thinking it's the last time we're going to be shooting in here and it's all a complete mess. I don't even know how to describe it, it's very odd.
It was quite sad almost, because the first time we walked in there, for some reason it shot into my head all the times when we used to see the owls flying with the post, to all of a sudden the hourglass have just been shattered everywhere, half the wall has been crumbled down. It was a totally different environment, and one which shows that this isn't going to end all happy.
Why Joe Rowling and Steve Kloves are so clever is that just because the battle starts, it doesn't mean the rest of the film stops. Because all the other characters and all the other relationships and all the other stories carry on in the battle.
Look, we'll talk later, okay, Luna? Harry!
Later!
Harry Potter! You listen to me right now!
It's a balance one has to strike because you want a satisfying, epic, big sort of finale. But you can't help but move in sometimes and get the human detail.
Harry does get a mid-battle kiss, which I instigated, I have to say, the other day. I said we'd probably kiss at this moment, wouldn't we? It might be one of those sort of like, I could be dead any minute now, Ginny. We should probably kiss.
I know.
So throughout these big operatic moments of action, we're very aware of what our trio are doing.
You destroyed Tom Rudder's diary with the basilisk fang, right? Well, me and Hermione think we know where we might find one.
Okay, take this. That way you can find me when you get back.
Where are you going?
Ravenclaw common room. Gotta start somewhere.
While Harry goes off in search of where the Ravenclaw diadem might be, Ron and Hermione head down to the Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets from Harry Potter 2. I think actually that is an example of a set that probably was not destroyed, the first version, but at least cannibalized and reused, so that not enough of it was left to rebuild it. What we did have were plates. So many images in these films, as in all modern movies, are composite images, you know. Actors can be shot on a piece of real floor, but against a green screen, and then the background composited in. We had those background potential composites from Harry Potter 2, from Chamber of Secrets. And so we were able to seemingly put those kids into that original set, when in fact all we had done was rebuilt a bit of floor, and the background was from the second movie.
They go to the Chamber of Secrets to destroy Horcrux. That's the scene where Ron and Hermione Have their little moment, the kiss. I got quite worried about it. I think we both wanted to do it right as well, get it good for everyone.
OK, here we go.
Rupert was like, I don't know how we're going to do it. And I was like, I've got no idea either. Because if someone is literally like a sibling to you, you've grown up with them, you know, being put in a situation where you have to kiss them is just really awkward.
I said to Rupert, don't be Rupert, forget Rupert, just be Ron. Just let Ron take over in that moment. And I said the same thing to Emma, let Hermione take over in that moment.
And it was just like, well, we're just gonna have to do it.
And so they had this big kiss, and then they came apart, and there was some laughter. Because, you know, it was a little bit awkward. And that's exactly what David Yates wanted.
Who knew? Rupert and Emma had that waiting for us. I mean, I was very impressed, so yeah, it was wonderful.
There are these big battle moments, but it was important for me to make sure that the key story was Harry's search for the Horcrux.
There's a wonderful sequence in the Room of Requirements. As Harry and Ron, Hermione go in search of the diadem, and Malfoy and his sidekicks come in.
What brings you here, Potter? I could ask you the same.
In all the years we've been here, obviously we've seen some pretty amazing sets, but nothing for attention to detail and just grandness. The Room of Requirement this year was incredible. It looks almost as if Leaves and dumped all their stuff into one room and this was left over, but it just looks too beautifully arranged.
Stephanie and her team were buying furniture for weeks and weeks and months and months.
I think we must have at least 2,000 chairs in there. Chests of drawers, wardrobes.
It was always one of my favourite places to take people coming to the studio. Because it was a history, because we had to recycle so many of the objects and props that we'd used over the previous 7 films.
The chess set, chess pieces, the party dressing from Slughorn's party, all the trophy cabinet dressing. And I think it'll be fun for kids to recognise things that they've seen previously in films, and, well, it's ended up in the Room of Requirement.
For my first trick. How good have you got to be to do that?
Filming in there was one of the most exciting scenes I think we've shot throughout the whole 8 films. Certainly one of the most physically demanding scenes any of us had ever got involved with.
We climb all these different props and different, you know, wardrobes and chairs.
Me and Emma climbed up this pile of chairs for 3 days, and we had to stop and redo the makeup almost after every take, because by the time we get to the end, we would have just sweated so much in a space of about 20 seconds that, yeah, it was pretty incredible.
So you're pretty psyched, huh? Oh yeah, we're looking forward to it. Fairly, you know, pumped up. It's the first bit of actual action work I think we've done in years.
The hard part about it was really that the big mountains of rubble, some of it was fixed, and other stuff was supposed to sort of like fall down. So sometimes you'd grab a chair and it would just literally pull out. So you need to make sure which bits you were grabbing and which bits you were actually going to put your weight on. So we didn't think it could get much harder until they set the place on fire, and then it just got very hot very quickly.
Once we got up there, they had this terrifying thing where we're standing on a table, and then all of a sudden they just literally took off 2 of the legs, so it just pivoted on itself almost.
3, 2, 1, drop!
They would go, and even before they said go, we're sort of grabbing hold of the thing and saying, don't let me fall.
That's it. That's the one.
I'm smiling now, only because my feet are on the floor, yeah.
But you've got a harness on.
I know, and I've fallen off it like 3 times. It makes no sense. It's an instinct, you know, logic brain thing. You can't override it. So Blaze and I are just at the top of this burning heap of rubbish, about to die. And that's when young Harry takes a moment to come and save his old chum Draco.
We can't leave them! He's joking, right?
It's obviously a bit of a surprise and a relief young Draco to be saved, but certainly no thank you card at the end of it.
And they're just about to make it, and they get through the doors, and they crash land.
The stunt had to be done off the front of a vehicle that was travelling around 10 to 15 miles an hour, and sometimes the landings we have are onto boxes or onto mats, but this was just onto the floor. So it's quite an interesting job because, you know, you're going to have to feel it a little bit to get the right look of the shots.
It's the first time, I think, in a Harry Potter film that two people have been on a broomstick together. We call it the rescue rig, and we've just had to reinforce the back of the broomstick a little bit so we can get two people's weight on there.
Your turn, mate.
A two-person stunt it's always more difficult because there's someone else involved, and so you're not just thinking about your own self-preservation, you're thinking about someone else as well.
And there were so many variations. We had sometimes I had to go a certain direction and Martin went another, or we had to go together. So it was. This was probably one of the trickiest jobs we've done on the film, I think.
And we're trying to launch so they just split a little bit, so they get as much roll on the floor as possible.
Okay, we go once more.
We wasn't going as fast as we were going to go, but it's always nice to start things slowly and then build up. So the second one, that's when we really started to pick up the pace and really, yeah, we got some good travel and some good distance, because we had a certain distance they wanted us to travel, which was around 20 feet from takeoff. So, but by the second and third one, we were really starting to feel and get where we wanted to go.
It is the moment within the battle that we see him actually save his nemesis of the last 6 films.
Daniel and I have often talked about Harry and Draco as two sides of a coin, you know, both with different influences and different parental guidance. So I think if you actually got deep down to the roots of Draco, you probably would find out that, yeah, his heart does lie maybe slightly more on the good side. But it's never going to be black and white, so he's in the grey area in between, I think.
Many of the characters live in a grey area. The people who we think are dark may not be as dark as we think. People who are light may not be as light as we think. Snape, we think throughout this series, is a force of darkness.
Finally, in this film, you do find out where Snape's allegiances were.
No one can... The risk factor gets higher, of course, as the stakes get higher, and great storytelling like this eventually has sort of headings. So it's about moral values, and it's about redemption, and it's about loyalty, and I think, without giving anything away, in Snape's case, it's about a certain kind of courage, of convictions.
Where does its true loyalty lie?
With you.
The boathouse was kind of referred to in the first novel, and it's always been there as part of our big exterior model of Hogwarts, so decided to develop it and improve it. The walls are glass. It's a Tudor Gothic glass structure, and therefore you are very aware of the school on fire, the battle raging above you, the reflection of the fire in the glass, in the water.
It was fantastic. Beautifully designed, as everything is by Stuart.
It feels very melancholic and lonely, but quite haunted.
Because amidst all this tension, this battle's raging outside.
Harry Potter, on this night, you have allowed your friends to die for you rather than face me yourself.
For the whole battle for everyone, everyone's got loved ones that are everywhere throughout the castle that are fighting, and it's difficult to know how anyone is.
And it's not going to be like where 1 million bullets get fired and no one ever gets hurt. We've actually got to, in this film, see people get, you know, killed. Because we know they're going to.
Where is everybody?
When it comes to a battle, there always are casualties. This is a proper war. And in war, you know, you have casualties, and people that you care for and love have the risk of paying the ultimate price. These aren't just students who didn't pay attention. These are people who are really just caught out.
It's quite shocking to see all the bodies kind of lined up on these stretchers and covered in blankets.
Harry sees bodies everywhere, and he retreats. The burden of guilt at that point would be almost crushing.
Harry's in that state where people find themselves in when they've lost too many people and he's exhausted, but he can't stop because he knows what's at stake.
He's been exposed to death. His parents, Sirius Black, Dumbledore. Ultimately, unlike Voldemort, he's willing to go there.
Where have you been?
We thought you went to the forest. I'm going there now. Are you mad? No. You can't give yourself up to him.
I always felt that in Hallows Part 1 and Hallows Part 2, Harry was a pilgrim soldier. He'd lost so many things and he had a lot of belief, and in a way, the only thing that mattered was destroying the thing that has destroyed his life.
He sort of wants it to happen. Not that he wants to die, but he thinks, OK, if I stay in there and fight, we'll all be killed. If I go in there and fight, I'll definitely be killed, and they'll probably be killed, but there's a small chance they won't be killed.
There's something really beautiful about that he takes that long walk all on his own to save everybody else.
Does it hurt? Dying?
Quicker than falling asleep.
Dan hasn't had much experience of death, so it's actually quite a push for a young actor to explore that. And what I would do on set is just sit quietly with him sometimes. And there are quiet words before a take where you would just try and evoke a sense of fear and emptiness. But Dan's got a very vivid imagination, and he brings that. So it's trying to tap into that, really.
Harry Potter. The boy who lived. Come to die.
The battle for Hogwarts is really a backdrop to that fight that takes place between Harry and Voldemort.
The shooting of the final confrontation between Voldemort and Harry took quite some time. There are many different bits, and it was quite carefully orchestrated.
In the book, the standoff between Harry and Voldemort happens in the Great Hall, and it happens with lots of teachers and pupils watching, and it works beautifully in the book, but in the movie I wanted more of a fight between those two, so we extended their battle, so it was more of a finale. So we have them racing through the school and dueling with each other.
We actually get to a point where I'm actually up close and I'm actually got him by the throat and hitting him or kicking him, so it's very physical.
That's actually quite different from anything we've actually done with Harry Potter. That's actually been quite hands-on. They end up going up there, and it involves them throwing a few spells at each other, and then the drawbridge drops away. Go! That was quite exciting. It's usually a lot of spell throwing, so it's been a nice change.
Something we've been building to throughout this series is the conflict between Harry and Voldemort, and finally in this film we're going to see them going at it.
Harry knows Voldemort is terrified of dying, so he just grabs Voldemort by the neck and he says,
Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started it. Together!
We had some great fun with Rafe and Dan on wires, upside down, side to side fighting, and they really went at it. Daniel was so intense that morning, and Rafe really responded to it, and they were scrabbling and they were pulling at each other. It wasn't particularly pleasant for them, but we did about 3 or 4 takes, and it was a really intense moment.
We're completely covered in filth and dust, and my face is bleeding from where Harry's hit me.
And
It's a massive moment for both Harry and for Voldemort, and it's their final duel together. They've fought many times before, and this is the final encounter.